But if you're going to do this, then you've got to be committed to it for the rest of the year. And you also have to face the facts that you're going to have to use Cade Stover and you're going to have to use two backfield situations to try and make sure you chip on the right side, because I don't think Fisher can hold his own against good pass rushers. Look, the running game was less than. You brought it up, yesterday, Barry, and we were talking about the fact that as good as Mixon has been, you can only ask him to do so much when the holes aren't there, and because he got the illegal tackle that everybody saw but the officials evidently, and that's the second time this year, and he didn't seem to be the same when he came back into the game, though he finished the game. And as I stated last segment, the level of importance other than C.J. Stroud in the offense, and Brian's right, Nico's in that conversation, but to have balance, to have a running game, to have the weaponry that Joe Mixon brings to the table, you got to have him at as close to full strength as possible. And this running game has been less than it was last week. Is that a big concern?
I mean, Mixon's not the concern for me.
No.
It's the O-line. I mean,
But that's the running game. I mean, yeah, I'm not concerned about. You're right. Joe is going to be Joe, but Joe can't do it if there's no holes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but it's like we said yesterday. There's no magic formula. There's no magic out unless you have a way to erase names and replace them this late in the season. You can shuffle all you want. You know what I mean? That's really what you're doing at this point. It's 3-card Monty. It's just moving them around. Which combination on the left and the right and the center is going to be best to try to open up holes. And then it kind of feels like pick your poison. What would you rather do? Do you want to be better in pass pro or do you want to be better running? Because it kind of feels like if you're going to be better at one, you're not going to be better at the other. And I don't understand that because this team, last year they couldn't run the ball, but they didn't have good running backs. But, yeah, it just kind of feels like you if you're going to get one, you're not going to get the other. I don't know. I don't understand that, but. Yeah, I mean, to me, the running game in and of itself is not a concern. Joe Mixon has gone for over 100 plenty this year. We talked about it. Feast or famine, right? Mm-hmm. He's either going to go for 100 or 20. That's what it is. And he's gone for 100 way more than he's gone for 20. But then when he does that, you're going to get 140 out of C.J. Stroud through the air. So which one do you want?
B-Mac, this comes down to what I've been harping on for the last several days with Barry, which is the fact that it's like the elbow, the arm bone's connected to the shoulder bone. It all is connected to the offensive line. And now we're playing musical chairs again. And now we're moving Titus Howard from right tackle to left guard. And you're thinking, well, there's advantage Texans because now with Howard next to Laramie, that they're in a better spot to protect the blind side and do what they do. Well, now you got a rookie in Fisher at right tackle, and all you're going to do is see musical chairs on the defensive line where their best pass rusher is going to line up against the rookie and say, our guy's better than your guy. Look the hell out of your CJ.
Yeah, there's really no fix at this point in the season. I know we've had DJ on. He's talked about it with the bye as late as they had it in week 14. They can shuffle decks shuffle chairs around on the deck of the Titanic, but that's kind of what it is. You're not going to fix anything. The frustration is when they get into some of these playoff matchups, and you're going to see playoff matchups in the regular season the next 2 weeks against the Chiefs and the Ravens. I don't know that they can run the ball. Like when they face the upper level run defenses these over the last 5 weeks, 3 of those 5 weeks, Joe Mixon's been under 2 yards per carry. Now, I don't put that on him. It's not like Joe Mixon suddenly became a worse running back. Maybe he's a little slowed down by some of the hip drop tackles, but he's not a worse running back. But the offensive line, seemingly, you can't have pass protection and run blocking. Like for some reason, the Texans haven't figured out how to have both under DeMeco Ryans and Nick Caserio running things these last 2 years. So I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if there is one, but I'm concerned in the playoffs if they can't run the ball. They can't get teams out of playing too deep and taking away the pass because they don't have to respect the run. Then what are the Texans going to do on offense?
Well, can't you run the real? Can't you just simulate the run through the short pass? You can do the wheel routes. You can do the the shotgun formations, and then as the D-line progresses towards the quarterback, just dump it over the first line of defense, get it to the running backs, get them in space. Dare's good at that. Mixon is very good at that.
I don't want touches for Dare.
I think
any touch to Dare is a loss.
I disagree with that. I think especially on third downs, that's why they bring him in the game, because he can catch the football.
Yeah, didn't he have more? He had one run for. Oh, that
was on the fake punt.
Yeah, that was a fake punt.
That was a fake punt.
Yeah, but he's okay in third down situations.
They like him because of his pass protection. They for some reason they like his pass protection more than Joe Mixon, but I don't really want the ball in his hands on a critical third down.
But to answer your question, I mean, yeah, you can do that, but I think that ends up kind of making you one-dimensional. You know what I mean? I think you almost have to go, and that's what this offense is supposed to be. And you saw it kind of early in the season, and I remember talking about it, and I don't remember if it was on this show or my show, but I remember talking about what this offense really is it's a bastardized version of the West Coast offense, and it's a bastardized version of the offense that the Texans used to run under Gary Kubiak, because it's all the same tree. You know what I mean? And it's zone blocking that you saw with Arian Foster, and it's find the hole, hit the hole. And they would do that, and then eventually what you're doing is you're setting up play action, and you're setting up bootlegs, and you're setting up the bootlegs so that you have levels of the pass game that you can hit, short, intermediate, and deep passes based off of the run. But if you can't take care of the first step in that, which is run the ball, then none of it works. And I think that's part of the problem, is that the passing game isn't clicking because they can't run the ball. Now, what's different than last year? Because they could – I have no idea. I don't know the answer, but that's the theory behind this offense.
But I joked about it, right? And to your point, if you're constantly moving the pocket and CJ's constantly having to shift and step up and slide – then it already diminishes that concept. And from the standpoint of the musical chairs and everything that they're trying to accomplish, I joked about this because of what DJ said, because DJ, when they were looking at trying to activate Kenyon Green, DJ was like, hey, he was going at people and saying, he's a great run blocker. I mean, they'll use him because he can run block. But I joked, well, what are you going to do? Tell the defense exactly what you're going to do, run or pass by. If it's a running play, put Kenyon Green in the game. If it's a passing play, put in somebody else. You're not going to do that, and you're not going to give the defense that. And that's why I was kidding about it, like you would rotate in, skill position players. But aside from that, I don't want Kenyon Green pass blocking. I don't want him on the field. And if this is the solution that they've just decided internally we're riding with the rest of the year, because to Brian's point, there's no major changing solution coming through that door anytime soon. But if you're going to do this, then you've got to be committed to it for the rest of the year. And you also have to face the facts that you're going to have to use Cade Stover and you're going to have to use two backfield situations to try and make sure you chip on the right side, because I don't think Fisher can hold his own against good pass rushers.
Yeah.
He did okay against Chop Robinson, but Miami's pass rush is not going to be what you're going to see the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, you're certainly not. And you know what's scary is, and Brian mentioned this, but next 2 weeks you've got two of the three top defenses against the run in football. And sandwiched in between those two is the Vikings. The Ravens are the top rush defense in football, and the Chiefs are the third best rush defense in football. And the Vikings are second. And so whatever it is, you're going to get a real good test, and you're going to figure that out real quick. And just so if you want context, the Dolphins are what, 10th? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, they were 8th. And Joe Mixon averaged 1.9 yards a carry against the 8th best rush defense in football, they were giving up 103 yards a game. The Chiefs are giving up 92. The Ravens are giving up 81.
I mean, and then the irony is the Ravens are very susceptible to the pass.
Yeah,
secondary's garbage.
But if you can't block, then what are you doing?
Well, and that was my point yesterday is I would much rather face the Ravens than those other teams that we talked about in the playoffs, simply because at least they have a weakness somewhere in their defense, which is their secondary. But the Chiefs are really good in the secondary. They're only giving up 215 a game. You don't want to face them, so it's going to be ugly.
It's a concern for sure.
I think that leans to the point of let's not put these guys out there for the full game. If nothing else, let's still beat the confidence out of them.
Oh, so what you're saying is what I tried to get Joel to say. We're just going right back to I was right.
No, because I'm not agreeing with it. I'm not agreeing
Okay,
with it.
how much would you play the guys this week?
I'm playing everybody.
Normal game script?
The normal game script.
Okay. Same for the Baltimore game?
Now I will I will honor the thought of if they get up big or they get down big. Now it's meaningless football, and I'll pull the plug on my key players.
Somewhere like early fourth quarter,
or if they're down by a lot or up by a lot,
okay.
right?
Well,
then I'll rotate guys in a lot more, and I'll sit my key players down. But at the same time, I just feel like they've been so inconsistent. The line needs to work on things. You need to get more continuity on offense. I'm of the belief that you play football. When you play knowing you might sit down and you're probably not going to play a full game, you sometimes take the pedal off, the foot off the gas pedal a little bit. That's where you get hurt.
Yeah. No, that's true. You know, when you ease up a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is also why teams this is why teams hate the preseason. I mean, this is the exact reason.
But it's also for depth. I mean, let's be honest. It's not for any starting positions. More so, it's competitions and the fact that guys are trying to make the team as your backups and your depth pieces.
It's injuries too. I mean,
that plays in. But for the most part, it's just about the preseason is all about building your roster.
Well, it was why they hated so many preseason games. They were like, give us one or two. We only need a half, or
Well, that's what don't get paid. They don't get paid for the preseason.
Yeah, but I mean, their point was we don't need 4 games to get ready for a season. So if you don't need 4 games to get ready for a season, certainly you don't need 3 to get ready for the playoffs if you just played an entire season too.